Hello everyone! So in today's video I want to investigate whether it would be possible to beat Zelda Majora's Mask if water did not exist. To do this, I've prepared a quick modification to the game that prevents actors from interacting with any water boxes. Will we still be able to progress far enough to defeat Majora and save Termina? Well, that's what we're going to find out. So for this particular challenge, I didn't want to make the gameplay too easy. I will restrict myself to trying to use as few glitches as possible until I can find no other way to progress. Any glitches that are used will be tracked with a counter in this video. And with that, I think it's time to start. Cycle 1, everybody's favourite part of any video game ever. This part is quite straightforward as there is only one body of water that you would need to cross, which is in the bomber's hideout while collecting the moon's tear. Fortunately, the ledge is low enough on the way there to simply climb up, but on the way back, the ledge is just out of reach. However, by performing a backflip and releasing the joystick, Link will twist in the air, allowing you to climb back up. The same trick can even be used to skip the moon's tear entirely. Upon reaching the swamp, we notice that the Octoroks no longer spawn now that the water is gone, removing the need to take the boat cruise towards Deku Palace. After receiving a bottle, we also notice that it's not possible to collect any spring water, which would normally be used to grow magic bean plants. The floor in the poison swamp deals damage to Link, meaning that we arrive in Deku Palace at low health and need to be careful navigating these areas. Once magic beans have been obtained, we can proceed to learning Sonata of Awakening from the monkey inside Deku Palace. Although we couldn't collect spring water, it is still possible to grow the plant by waiting until 7 o'clock on day 2. The plant grows automatically at this time in response to the rain. After crossing the rest of the poison swamp and battling the hip loops and mad scrubs, it's finally time to enter Woodfall Temple. Inside the dungeon, our first task is to collect the small key. This is now more difficult as the usual route requires hopping across the water in both rooms. The first can be crossed with a jump from the wooden flower, but the platform we need to access in the second room seems to be just out of reach. I'm not sure if this can be climbed with a precise gainer or twisted backflip, but I was unable to make this after many attempts. As such, this is the first instance where a glitch was used to progress. Once the small key is picked up, however, we can complete the remainder of the dungeon as normal. Next, we head to the mountains for the second dungeon. Up until collecting the Goron mask, there is really no difference in this section. However, we are unable to bottle any of the hot spring water from the Goron graveyard, meaning it is not possible to melt the frozen Goron Elder without using another glitch. From here on, we can proceed as normal, as there is no water on the path to or inside of Snowhead Temple. And so we reach Great Bay. As you might expect with this being a water-based region, this section will be the most involved. The first problem we encounter is that Mikau actually doesn't spawn without water, meaning it will not be possible to obtain the Zora mask. The challenge is essentially over at this point as we are unable to beat the game without this, so I decided to add the mask to my inventory with a cheat. We now continue playing just to see how the rest of the game would have changed. The first thing to do in this region is to collect the Zora eggs so that we can learn New Wave Bossa Nova. We head to Pirate's Fortress where we find a conveniently placed ramp that allows us to access the floor switch that opens the gate. By riding on the pirate's boats and making a well-timed jump, we can then drop down to enter the fortress interior. We can navigate the maze as normal and take the updraft to the upper level. This is where we run into another problem, as the door at the far side of the room appears to be beyond our reach. It almost seems possible that we could fly to the door if we could avoid getting sucked back into the tunnel, but this did not work out and a glitch had to be used to progress to the next area. From here we can collect the hookshot as normal, which allows easier access to the fortress to collect all of the Zora eggs there. However, as the platform outside of the lab is now high in the air, it is again necessary to use a glitch so that we can hit the owl statue. In Pinnacle Rock, we can simply drop down into the holes to fight the deep pythons and collect the remainder of the eggs. Finally, we can return all of the eggs to the lab and learn the song we need to enter Great Bay Temple. Inside the temple, we can easily turn the first switch as normal, but must use Song of Soaring to get back to the platform to access the upper area. In the main room, we can then jump down into the tunnels. To access the next tunnel, we defeat the Dexy Hands and use a gainer to grab the ledge. In the following room, we can then defeat the Biobarbers to spawn a stray fairy chest, which can then be reached with the hookshot, allowing us to cross the lily pads into the next room. Here we can use a well-angled jump to collect the boss key, and then collect the small key from below as well. After soaring back to the entrance and repeating these steps, we can then access the water wheel room, where we use the hookshot to get to the moving platforms. We then ride the rotating platform and jump to the next room, where we can activate a green turnkey. Unfortunately, the only way to access the upper level of the room leading to Wart is by using a glitch. After the ice arrows are obtained, we can freeze the water column in the main room and use the hookshot to activate a second green turnkey. Finally, we head to the bottom again towards the boss room. The green pipe is sadly out of reach here as well, meaning we again use a glitch to get to the platform. After activating the final green turnkey, we enter the boss room to fight Gyog. The boss battle is straightforward, but there seems to be no way to deal damage to Gyog while staying on the platform. After dropping down and defeating the boss, we again need to use a glitch to get back up to the blue warp. After collecting the mirror shield beneath the well and the Elegy of Emptiness from Ikana Castle, we are ready to climb Stone Tower and enter Stone Tower Temple. We can complete the first rooms as normal until coming to the bridge room. Here we can perform a gainer to climb the sunblock to the left and then make a jump onto the bridge railing. From here we simply use the hookshot to access the chest with the small key. We now head into the opposite room, where we find there is no way to get to the upper level with our equipment. We once again use a glitch to reach this area. From here we can complete the dungeon as normal, as there are no more rooms containing water. Finally, we head to the moon to battle Majora. This section takes place as normal, as there is no water to encounter between entering the clock tower and beginning the final boss. With Majora defeated, the game is complete and it is time to review our progress. So in the end, we required glitches a total of 8 times to beat the game. Of these 8 instances, there were 6 that were due to hovering being necessary to reach high areas that we would ordinarily be able to swim up to. Unsurprisingly, 5 of the 6 hovers we performed were required in the Great Bay region. Unfortunately, I did not know that Mikhail would not spawn before I started this challenge. This meant I had to use a cheat to get the Zora mask. If I were to do this again, I would make sure that certain actors still spawn properly when not over water, and perhaps even prevent actors from interacting with rain and water columns as well. This would pose some additional problems for completing the game without glitches. In conclusion, I have rated this attempt as a fail due to a cheat being necessary to complete the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.